Let's move on to the highlights of this conference. The keynote address by an eminent, world-recognized personality. First and foremost, let me introduce him to you. Obtained his PhD in organic chemistry from Cambridge University in 1968. He has 1,200 publications in several fields of organic chemistry, including 700 research publications. 340 books published largely by major US and European presses. 82 students have completed their PhD degrees under his supervision. He is the first scientist from the Muslim world to have won the prestigious UNESCO Science Award in 1999. He was elected as a Fellow of the Royal Society based in England, in London, in July 2006. He has been conferred the honorary doctorate degree by many universities, including the degree of Doctor of Science by the Cambridge University, UK in 1987. Honorary degree of Doctor of Education by Coventry University, UK in 2007. And a degree by the Bradford University in 2010. An honorary PhD by the Asian Institute of Technology in 2010, and the honorary doctorate from King of Malaysia from the University of Technology in Mara in 2011. He was elected Honorary Life Fellow of the King's College, Cambridge University in 2007. He was conferred the TWA's Italian Prize for Institution Building in October 2009 in recognition of his contributions for bringing about revolutionary changes in the higher education sector in Pakistan. The Austrian government has honored him with his highest civil award in recognition of his eminent contributions. He has won the International Scientific Cooperation Award by Chinese Academy of Science for building scientific collaborations between China and Pakistan in 2014. On 10th January 2020, that is earlier this year, he was conferred the highest award for Chinese International Cooperation Award on Science and Technology at the very special ceremony by the President of China, His Excellency Xi Jinping. He was the Federal Minister of Science and Technology during the period 2000 to 2002, Federal Minister of Education in 2002, and the Chairman of the Higher Education Committee. He is Distinguished National Professor as well as Professor Emeritus at the Karachi University. In recognition of his global outstanding services to the development of science and technology, the largest university in Malaysia, the University of Technology Mara, has established an institution entitled Prof.Atta-ur-Rahman Institute of Natural Product Discovery. He has been appointed as Chairman of Prime Minister's Task Force on Science and Technology. He is the most decorated scientist of Pakistan, having won 4 civil awards by the government of Pakistan and the highest national civil award. Ladies and gentlemen, let us very warmly welcome our keynote addressee, Professor Atta-ur-Rahman.
Excellency Prime Minister Mr. Rajapaksa, the President and members of the Organizing Committee of OPA, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Assalamu alaikum. It is indeed a great pleasure and an honor for me to be with you this morning and to give a presentation on the way forward to bounce back. But before that, let me convey the greetings and the warm regards from His Excellency Mr. Imran Khan, the Prime Minister of Pakistan. He contacted me last night and he informed me that he is in the middle of a budget session that is going on right now, and he therefore could not attend personally to this important meeting, although he was greatly looking forward to participating in it. He asked me to convey his warm regards and greetings to the President, the Prime Minister, the government and the people of Sri Lanka. And he was particularly excited by the theme of the conference, Bouncing Back. And he emphasized that the key for future socio-economic development lies in education, in science, in technology, in innovation, and in entrepreneurship. It is only through unleashing the creative potential of our youth that we can hope to move forward. I would like to particularly emphasize what he said about the cooperation with Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has been a long-time friend, and he mentioned to me that he looked forward to much closer cooperation with Sri Lanka, both in academia as well as industrial and agricultural sectors. And in order to bounce back, the two countries should work as brethren in arms in order to move forward quickly. Now, coming to my own address, well, it's good to be talking to my Sri Lankan friends. My first visit to Sri Lanka was back in 1974. In fact, I was fortunate to get an award from the Sri Lankan Prime Minister, Mrs. Bandaranaike at that time, the mother. And since then, I've been to Sri Lanka many times, and I've had many Sri Lankan scientists coming to my center in chemistry in Karachi and working with us, and we have many collaborative interactions. I would like to show some PowerPoint slides, which I'd like to share with you as I move forward in my talk. In order to bounce back, the key lies in developing a strong knowledge economy. It's only through transitioning from low value-added agricultural economies to a knowledge economy that we can hope to have sustainable, equitable, socio-economic development. So this is a report by McKinsey Global, and it talks of the fourth industrial revolution. There is a huge wave coming. And according to this report, by 2025, just 5 years from today, there will be $100 trillion impact, not 100 billion, $100 trillion impact of disruptive technologies, of which artificial intelligence alone will contribute over $15 trillion. And these technologies include Internet of Things, advanced robotics, industrial biotechnology, next generation genomics, 3D printing, the new renewable energies, advanced materials, and others. So this is the future, and it is already here. And we have to invest, as the Prime Minister of Pakistan also emphasized, in education, in science and innovation, and especially in these new and emerging technologies in order to move ahead. So, and this slide tells you the world scenario in terms of the share of manufactured products in world exports by technology. The top two lines are medium and high technology goods. The bottom two lines, green and red, are natural resources and low technology goods. In fact, this graph is up to 2004, if you look up to 2020, the high technology has now overtaken the medium technology, and the secret of enhancing exports and moving forward quickly and in bouncing back lies in the ability of countries to manufacture and export high technology products. In one sentence, that is the secret. The ability of countries, I repeat, in manufacturing and exporting high technology products. And what do I mean by high technology products? Electronics, engineering goods, pharmaceuticals, advanced agricultural products, electronics, and so on. Shipbuilding, automobile manufacture, metallurgy, new materials, etc., etc. So whether it is large countries like China or small countries like Singapore, it's innovation that determines progress. And it is only through investing in innovation that we can move forward. In the next slide, I hope everybody is able to view the slides that I'm showing. I hope they are clear. Yeah. In the next slide, Singapore, tiny country, population only 5.5 million, almost no natural resources. Exports last year, 330 billion US dollars. 330 billion US dollars, far more than many other advanced countries. Why? A visionary leader, Lee Kuan Yew, and the emphasis on knowledge economy. And this is the GDP per capita for the 50-year period 1960 to 2010 of Singapore. The blue line is Singapore. The red line is United Kingdom for comparison. And the light green line is the world average. So if you look down vertically, in the mid-1990s, Singapore overtook the United Kingdom and has now a much higher per capita income than many of the advanced countries like UK, Germany, France, Sweden, etc. And if you look at the world, and why is it? If you look at the World Competitiveness Index, number 1 in the world, Singapore. If you look at the percentage of high-tech exports in terms of as a percentage of total exports, number 1 in the world, Singapore. So that is the way forward. Now let me turn to the other extreme, China. Never before in the history of mankind have so many been transformed so quickly as has happened in China. On the extreme left, the column is the years, 1978 going forward. The second column is the number of students China started sending abroad. And the number has grown from a few hundred in 1978 now to about 600,000 students. And in the third column, the number of students coming back after PhDs and postdoctoral training is about 500,000. Every year, 500,000, 500,000 students trained at the world's leading universities in USA and Europe and elsewhere are coming back to China. They are being clustered in centers of excellence, and they are the engines which are driving the Chinese economy. And again, China, if you look at the R&D expenditure, in 2019, China overtook the USA in terms of investments in R&D in dollar terms. In real terms, because the cost of living in China is less than USA, China is probably spending more than twice what USA is expending in R&D. And this is reflected in the number of patents which are coming out from China. Last year, 1.3 million international patents from China versus 285,000 patents from USA. So 4 times as many international patents are coming out today from China as compared to the United States of America. It's this huge investment in innovation and entrepreneurship And as was just mentioned, I got the highest award for institution building and scientific cooperation from the President of China earlier this year. And it's really an eye-opener what has happened in the last 4 decades in China. But the road is again the same. The ability of countries to manufacture and export high technology goods. And for that, they have to build up their universities, they have to build up their research centers, they have to invest in science, technology, and innovation, and create the ecosystem that's required so that ideas can be transformed into products and processes. And this was an institution built in my name in China, which was inaugurated in October last year. And this function was also attended by the Minister for Science in China. And it's quite mind-boggling, the kind of investment. This is a huge 6-story building, and I was greatly honored that they have built this at the University of Hunan Traditional University of Medicine in my name. Let's turn to Korea and Austria. Do you know, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, that the Korean Minister of Education is also the Deputy Prime Minister of Korea? Austria, which also gave me its highest civil award, the Minister for Science in Austria is the Deputy Prime Minister of Austria. So this is what we need to realize, our leadership in our countries. And I'm glad that the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka is here also at this conference, that unless you give the highest priority to education and science and move beyond lip service to start massively investing in these fields. I know there is a limited budget. There are so many demands, but the most important of them is the demand for education and for science and innovation. And the reason why countries like Korea and Austria have done this is made these people their deputy prime ministers so that they would have the political clout in order to get whatever funding was needed for those sectors to move forward. A little bit about Pakistan and what I tried to do when I was the Federal Minister for Science and then later of Education and also the Chairman of the Higher Education Commission. President Musharraf was the President of Pakistan at the time. I joined the cabinet a little later. The President approached me to join the cabinet in 1999 when he became the President. I asked him, "Are you serious about science?" He said, "Of course, I am serious." I said, "Sorry, I want to know how serious you are." Answer, "How serious do you want me to be?" He was a bit surprised by my question. Well, I said, "Are you prepared to put your money where your mouth is? I don't want to be a lip service minister for science or minister for education." To cut a long story short, we ended up with a 6,000% budget increase in development budget for science, and later a 3,500% increase in development budget for higher education, and a massive transformation of the Pakistan educational and science sectors began. The universities are critical for development, and it is important to invest massively in our universities, but universities are not about beautiful buildings. They are about beautiful minds. The key is high quality faculty. So I started the largest scholarship program in the world of Fulbright was initiated by us with half the funding coming from Pakistan. 11,000 students were sent abroad to the world's leading universities. But just sending them abroad is not enough. You have to attract them back and create the ecosystem, the environment. Who doesn't want to come back to their own countries? Their parents are here, their brothers and sisters are here, but you must invest in the institutions where they can be absorbed and where they can contribute in a fruitful manner. So I know many of my friends, top Sri Lankan scientists, are serving in USA and Europe. They have to come back and they have to contribute. So what we did was a number of things. Number one, we dramatically changed the salary structures of academia in Pakistan. So the salary of a full professor and this is in 2005 that I'm talking about, became 4 to 5 times the salary of a federal minister in the government. The salary of a professor, I repeat, became 4 to 5 times the salary of a federal minister in the government. But paying weak people high salaries would have been a waste of money. So this was a contractual system of appointments, with the first international evaluation after 3 years and a second international evaluation after 6 years before permanency was granted. Second, every student who was sent abroad could apply for a $100,000 research grant. A $100,000 research grant for every student, for which he or she could apply a year before they were coming back. Every project would, of course, only be funded by after external peer review, but this meant that even if they came back to a weak university, they would have sufficient funding to start research. Because a fundamental difference between a college and a university, a college simply imparts education. A university does something which is far more important. It extends the frontiers of knowledge. And so universities are ranked this day and age not by the size of their campus or by the billions of dollars of instrumentation that they may possess, but by their creativity, by their output in terms of PhDs that they produce, the international patents, the research publications, etc., etc. So we also created a huge digital library, 65,000 textbooks and 25,000 international journals, free of charge. Free access to sophisticated instrumentation under a scheme through which a student can send his samples anywhere in the country, and the analysis will be done free of charge within 24 hours. And of course, jobs on arrival. So all this was done under the umbrella of a new organization called the Higher Education Commission, which was like a ministry, but reporting directly to the Prime Minister of Pakistan, not under the Ministry of Education. So our University Grants Commission was abolished. A new ministerial level body was formed, with the chairman of the HEC having the status of a federal minister and reporting directly to the federal minister, and all these programs were initiated. The Pakistan Educational Research Network connected all universities with high-speed internet access, and the massive scholarship program, as I mentioned, was the heart of the whole program. All universities were fitted with video conferencing facilities, and a series of lectures were started from USA, Europe. Every day, 3 or 4 lectures are delivered to all universities, every day, which are centralized through my center in Karachi. And these are, so there is a focal point in every university. So there's this means that you are benefiting not only from your own teachers, but from the world's leading professors. One thing particularly which may be of interest to Sri Lanka, especially in this day and age, when the universities' campuses are closed, is this new integrated version of massive open online courses that we initiated. And this brings together under one website, school level, college level, and university level courses, about 65,000 courses and lectures in all disciplines: science, engineering, social sciences, medicine, law, agriculture, etc., etc. The website address is lej4learning.com.pk. No registration, no payment. You just go there and start learning. And this is a huge program that we have underway. And as a result of these initiatives, the PhD output of Pakistan shot up, as is shown by the graph. Similarly, the research publications in international journals shot up from only a few hundred now to about 19,000 every year. So a huge increase. And this graph is particularly meaningful, a comparison of international publication from Pakistan in comparison to India. Pakistan is shown in green here, and India in red. In the year 2000, on the extreme left, we had 44 publications per 10 million population versus 172 of India. And then the reforms that I brought in this whole scenario starts changing. As you move to the right, this is data taken from the Web of Science. Pakistan overtook India in 2017, and in 2018 we were about 20% ahead of India, and last year we are about 26% ahead of India in terms of number of research publications in impact factor journals per capita. This shows that with determination and with the commitment of the highest leadership, something remarkable can happen in a country. And as a result of this, our universities became ranked amongst the top 300, 400, and 500 of the world. And the various programs that we initiated included placing Pakistan's first satellite in space, PakSat-1, which was used also for distance education. And I was also the Minister for Information Technology and Telecommunications. And these are the knowledge highways connecting knowledge, industry, commerce, far more important than road highways. So the Pakistan Internet services were rapidly expanded. And as a result of this, the fiber was also expanded from 40 cities to some 2,000 towns, cities, and villages. And the prices of internet bandwidth were dropped sharply to make it the cheapest in the region. And the mobile telephony was also expanded very rapidly through a number of initiatives that I do not have time to go into, but a dramatic transformation took place of these sectors. As a result, the chairman of the United Nations Commission of Science, Technology and Development in an article wrote, in no country, other country has the higher education sector seen such spectacular positive developments as that in Pakistan during the last 6 years. And more recently, Thomson Reuters, the world's top international ranking agency, wrote an article entitled Another Brick in the Wall, BRIC, comparing Pakistan to Brazil, Russia, India, and China. And it concluded, this was published in August 2016, and you can look up under the title Another Brick, BRIC, in the Wall. And it concluded that Pakistan has emerged as the country with the highest percentage of highly cited papers compared with the BRIC countries. So these are international, and there were several comprehensive reports produced by the World Bank, by USAID, by British Council, and the world's leading science journal, Nature, wrote 4 editorials about the model that should be followed by other countries that we established in Pakistan. It's interesting that there was a presentation made to the Indian Prime Minister on 22nd July 2006, and Hindustan Times, the leading Indian newspaper, carried a heading, Pak Threat to Indian Science, and described what I was trying to do in Pakistan. And it started with the words, Pakistan may soon join China in giving India serious competition in science, and talked about the salary structures and other reforms that I had brought in the Pakistani universities. Unfortunately, however, this was not sustained subsequently, my efforts, and this is the R&D expenditure in Pakistan as a percentage of GDP. On the extreme left is 2000. I was there between 2000 and 2008. These are World Bank figures. I've taken this graph from the World Bank. And so as you see, it started shooting up, went up to the maximum in 2008. I resigned as the minister and as chairman HEC in 2008, and it started going down again. So this is unfortunate that that effort was not sustainable. But when our present Prime Minister Imran Khan came in, he approached me and he appointed me as the heads of 3 different national think tanks on science and technology and IT and telecom and on knowledge economy. And something remarkable has begun to happen again. 126 billion rupees worth of projects have now been approved or are in process of approval. And this is several times the current budget of the Ministry of Science now, and the same graph is now beginning to change. So I'll be happy to advise Sri Lanka also in my own humble way, if there is a determination in the leadership in Sri Lanka to transform Sri Lanka towards a strong knowledge economy. So the future directions to develop a knowledge economy is, as I said right in the beginning, the ability of nations to manufacture and export high technology goods. And that means strengthening education, particularly higher education, strengthening your science and technology institutions, and then creating the ecosystem through which university industry linkages would take place, and ideas will not remain confined to research papers, but will actually end up in commercial products and processes. And there are a number of initiatives that we have taken. Our focus is on the new and emerging technologies, which I mentioned in the first slide, in the manufacture and export of products such as electronics, defense goods, engineering goods, high value added agriculture, etc. Our special focus is on blended education, because in one step, this can allow you to leapfrog, allow us to leapfrog, because you can today study from the best lectures available from Oxford, Cambridge, MIT, Harvard, Stanford, etc. at no cost. These are available through the website that I pointed out earlier, and they are also available on the internet. So we should now be changing the way we teach students and moving towards flipped learning. Flipped learning implying that you are learning not just from your teachers, but you're learning from the best teachers in the world. And then the classroom time should be, a lot of it should be invested in discussion sections. As a result of all these efforts, one fantastic new university has been set up because of, as was mentioned, I was lucky to get the highest civil award from Austria. The Pakistan-Austrian University has now been established near Islamabad, which will start operating at the end of this year. And there are many Chinese centers of excellence also within the same university. But the heart of the university is a large technology park, and $10 million have been set aside as a venture capital fund for the technology park. Throughout Pakistan, with the funds that Prime Minister Imran Khan has made available, we are setting up technology parks, business incubators, VC funding, and promoting research, and also innovation and entrepreneurship in various universities across the country. One important initiative that we have taken, our task force was established only about a year ago, but within a year, one important initiative that our task force has taken is a major tax breakthrough. That's the reward that you get out of investing in science and in education. So our National Database and Registration Authority, NADRA, which keeps records of, in consultation with the Federal Board of Revenue of all taxes, we have developed an innovative artificial intelligence protocol, which as a result has identified 3.8 million non-tax filers, and the cuts that we take for those people who should have had a tax liability of 100,000 rupees or more, and an estimated 1.6 trillion in income tax, who should have paid 1.6 trillion rupees in income tax in the last fiscal year. And as a result of just this one initiative, we have been able to collect already 65 billion rupees. 65 billion rupees in less than a year have been additionally collected just through this one initiative of my Knowledge Economy Task Force, and more than 90,000 tax filers. And we have just started this program. This was done based in Islamabad, but now we are extending it to provinces. So if you invest, if you sow the seeds today, you will reap the fruits tomorrow, but you have to invest in science and innovation. So this is just one example of investment in science coming up. I'm now coming up to the last 5 minutes of my talk, just to give you how truth has become stranger than fiction. And all that I'm talking about now is dollar and cents, how disruptive innovation are transforming economies. For instance, in genomics, it takes hundreds of thousands of years, or in some cases millions of years, for new species to evolve. However, now in the laboratory, you can develop a new species in a matter of weeks, because a technique has been developed for gene editing, where you can slice a gene of one plant or animal, put it into another gene of another plant or animal, and create new species. This is being already done all over the world, including in my lab. Some scientists have taken the genes from the firefly. You know the fireflies which sparkle at night, and they have put these genes into flowers. And lo and behold, you have orchids which luminous in the dark. Tens of thousands of lives are being saved because of children who used to die out of lack of vitamin A. They have created now genetically modified rice with pro-vitamin A built in, and these lives are being saved because you no longer need external vitamin A. Why do you get fruits, certain fruits, for instance, mangoes in Pakistan only in the summer, not in the winter? Same applies to certain vegetables. Because every plant has a certain biological clock built in, which tells it when to fruit, when to flower. So the scientists have learned what these biological clocks are, what these genes are, and how to switch them on and off. So the time is now coming, and this is one way that we can bounce back, is for us to be able to manipulate these genes. You've heard of 3D printing. Entire houses are being produced in a matter of days through 3D printing. 3D printing is being now used for producing living human organs like human kidneys and human livers. How? It's kind of an inkjet printer where human cells taken from the same person, say kidney cells, are first allowed to grow in a tank and then sprayed in the desired layer by layer into a desired shape, so that part of a human kidney is produced, living human kidney is produced. This lady is blind. However, she's wearing glasses with a little camera attached to those glasses, which takes in the optical image, is converted into electrical images, and in her hand is a lollipop-like device, which has 400 sensors. The moment she puts it on her tongue, the image is passed to her brain, restoring partial eyesight. This is the fourth industrial revolution. This is the future dollars and cents. This is the secret of bouncing back. The Harry Potter's disappearing cloak is now a reality. Special materials have been developed which have the ability to bend light. So if I was to cover you with a cloak made out of so-called meta materials, you will become invisible. You will remain there, but the light will bounce and go around you rather than, so you will, it will look as if you're sitting on an empty chair. If you have seen the Terminator film, you fire a bullet, a hole is created, and then it closes in a matter of seconds. These materials are now a reality, self-healing materials. A material has been, two professors at Manchester got Nobel Prizes for their work on graphene, a substance which is 200 times stronger than steel and is finding many applications. Electronic textiles are here with thousands of designs concealed in them. Press a button and the design changes. So you don't have to buy a dress for your wife every day anymore. Just tell her to press the button. So look it up tonight, look up E-Textiles, and you'll find many such. Again, these are the dollars and cents that I'm talking about. And some of my own work is the molecular basis of thought. What are thoughts made of? Thoughts are not abstract. They're made of atoms and molecules. What atoms? What molecules? This has taken us into very fascinating areas. The human brain, 100 billion neurons, each talking to 10,000 neurons. Arguably the most complex object of our universe is our own brain. How does it work? I can give a separate chemistry lecture on this, which I won't, but let me just say that we have published many papers and have many US patents, and we have shown that certain patterns are formed through hydrogen bonding and glycoproteins present in the human brain, and that has taken into the discovery of some anti-epileptic compounds, and we are now working in Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. I will end here now by just saying that in order to move forward and in order to bounce back, Mr. Prime Minister, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the secret lies in strengthening the triple helix. On the one side, the academia, the universities, the institutions, the research. On the other side, the private companies which have the ability to absorb that research. And on the third side, actual serious government commitment. Sri Lanka still invests only 0.1% of its of its GDP in R&D. Mr. Prime Minister, please increase it to 1% at least, and then go on to 2 or 3%. That is the secret of your future. That is the secret of bouncing back. Give the highest priority to education, to science, to technology, and to innovation. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for bearing with me. Good morning.
Well, thank you very much, Professor Rahman, for the very interesting presentation and for joining us all the way from Pakistan